So, I'm saying a shul is a place where you worship Hashem over there. So it's shaykh to fight in a shul. I mean, let me talk, well, before I get to this, if you start fighting, is the pshat you say, you're fighting against the other side, the shul is mine, so why are you taking over? So let's close the shul and finish. I mean, what are you fighting against? You're making machlokas against the other side because you think the shul belongs to you. So your mom is, but the shul is a place where you worship Hashem, so you use that mokum of avodas Hashem, kedei to fight against and make machlokas, which is against the Rotzon Hashem. So it's mamrim hayisim im Hashem. But let me talk about a personal story that I felt by me, and it's always good to give yourself musar and to criticize yourself, especially in a time there's a big yetzer hara by us, and especially when we talk about the inyanim of Zionism. There's a certain hanoah we have to punch and yell and scream that we ourselves forget. And the truth is, I'm thinking now, we also have that mamrim hayisim im Hashem when we're fighting against Zionism. Are we fighting against it because we enjoy, because we're looking for the quote Shomaim over here? That's how it started. But after it started, we enjoyed the fight. We enjoyed the punching. We enjoyed the yelling and screaming. Although maybe it's legitimate that it should be that way, but it definitely helps feed the yetzer hara. And these inyanim are very, very delicate, and there's a very fine line that differentiates between the yetzer hara's pleasure and the yetzer and the l'shem shamayim in these inyanim. And we see it ma'asim b'chol yom. Yet it doesn't mean we're wrong. We're right, and they're wrong, and don't make a mistake. But yet, in the kavonas, and that's the superficial people, which are very shchiach, they always look at it like that since you have a kavanah not l'shem shamayim mixed in, so you must be wrong. That's the way they don't really know themselves that's how they're doing it. Because most people are not analytical. It's like this person that he just died a year ago, and somebody that he's married to a cousin of mine. He wrote on a book. He wrote a story like this that there was a bacher in the yeshiva, I think it was based at Talmud and Beit 40 years ago, something like that, and he was drafted to army in the Yom Kippur War, and he was killed in the war. He was killed in a tragic way. He was in a tank, and they were crossing the Suez Canal, and as they were crossing, the Egyptians shot at the tank, and his tank couldn't move. And he was one of the first in the line crossing the bridge, so all the tanks behind it couldn't go. What are they going to do? So they have a rule in the army: you push this one off into the water and you let them die, and then the rest go further. It's tragic and it's terrible and it's frightening just to think that you have to, and giving over these Rishonim are going to decide such halachos. Can you imagine what's going on and what kind of chashchus we're living in? And this person, this one that was in a yeshiva, he was drafted because he was in the army before, and he was killed in such a situation. So this person that he's related to me, and now he's in the Olam Ha'emes, and who knows where he is. So he said, so he wrote in his book, after telling this whole story, so he wrote, and after all this, can the satmar talk against Medinas Yisrael? Can he talk against it? You hear the super superficial seichel working over here, or maybe say not working over here. Because what? Because this person died for what? According to his mind, he died for Medinas Yisrael in such a tragic way. So how can he have the chutzpah to talk against Medinas Yisrael? Because that's the seichel of Balabatim. That you look at everything that this is connected to that, which is not connected. When you start trying to understand, you see there's no connection. This has nothing to do with that. Medinas Yisrael is treif. It's a piece of chazir that came down to the world. But once it's here, so they need an army to protect the Yidden over here because of the sakona that Zionism put us in. So he died for saving Klal Yisrael. He died. So what does that have to anything to do with Medinas Yisrael? Not Medinas Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is Klal Yisrael. So that's what happens when you look at things superficially. Same thing is over here. True. We have a shalom l'shem shomayim when we start talking what they call kanos. So there's always a not l'shem shomayim mixed in because there's a special yetzer hara that enjoys punching the other person. Does that make you wrong? No, it doesn't make you wrong. Those that think will understand what I'm saying. Those that chose not to think won't understand what I'm saying, and they'll never understand what I'm saying because they don't want to understand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we ourselves have the problem of mamre meyisim im Hashem. That we talk against ideas, but we go over the gvul. We don't know where's the gvul. What's with Bittul Torah? Is that a heter for Bittul Torah? No, it's not a heter for Bittul Torah. And there's a special yetzer hara that's matir Bittul Torah because we're talking against the Rishonim. But that's all pashita things. But we have to go much more into the delicate kochus and nefesh when we talk about these things. And I want to bring it back to myself that instead of enjoying so much these talking against others, which I'm right, but the enjoyment of it is maybe wrong. So let me tell you something about myself. I went to a shul. I started going into it once in a while around when I moved to this part of our Nov, around Tavshin Ayin Aleph it was. So I moved to where I am now. And for the first time I walked into a shul that's called the Hollandim, they call it, which is near me. It's like a Yakish type of a shul where there's Americans daven there, English-speaking people, and it's run by two Gaboim that are Dutch. So I went there. And then it came in the summer of Tavshin Beis, I think it was. 45. I'm there a few Shabbos, and they never gave me Aliyah. And the Gabbai there, he's a very close friend of my Mechutonim, of my third daughter's in-laws. And he came to my daughter's wedding. He should have remembered who I am, which he probably didn't. And then he didn't give me Aliyah. Now, my question really bothered me. He, first of all, can't you see on me that I'm a person that sits by an open safer a lot of time? I put in a lot of time sitting in front of an open saber. I'm a Yodea. You can't see on me that I'm a shaykhis to Torah, and maybe more than others, than a lot of the people there. And second of all, you don't know me from you came to my daughter's wedding and you ate over there. You don't remember who I am. And third of all, I'm a guest. Don't you give a guest Aliyah? That's what I used to do when I was a gabbai for 10 years in the Vasikin Minyan. Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, the last Shabbos of the year. So he gave me Aliyah. So then he said, this Shabbos is when I give those that didn't get the whole year. That's like, so I was thinking, maybe they should call Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, you should call it Shabbos HaNechasholim Acharecha. That should be just like you have Shabbos HaGodol, Shabbos Shuvah, Shabbos Bereshis. You have Shabbosim that have a name. So you should call this Shabbos Nechasholim Acharecha, like the last ones that are behind, so they get the Aliyah this week. And he tells it to me. And all this was going through my mind a year, 2 years. But then I thought to myself, what is an Aliyah? What's an Aliyah? Aliyah means Ola LeTorah. You go up to the Torah and you thank Hashem in front of a whole tzibur that Hashem gave us HaTorah. So you're gonna use this union of being Ola LeTorah kedei to fight with somebody, kedei to demand your covet. It's kedei to show that you're a somebody. And suppose you're a nobody, so you can't be, you don't have a shaykhs to Torah. By being a nobody could maybe even more have shaykhs to Torah. What you're going to fight over such a thing? I mean, you're going to use the concept of being Ola LeTorah to fight. And I want to tell you the truth, that even while I'm saying it, I don't really feel what I'm saying. But that might be also a Mamre Mayisim Hashem in a delicate way. I didn't fight with him. I didn't say anything. I'm just expressing my feelings. I don't want to be somebody that only can talk against others, and can't bring the idea back to my own personal life. That's why I find it in my own personal life. It's Mamre Mayisim, but it's Im Hashem. You used Frumkeit, you used Yiddishkeit to fight against other person. And I still think he's wrong. Although, maybe there's limits in him, I don't know. I know there's certain people that they're like horses that have blinders on their two sides of the eyes. And they don't want the horse to look at the sides. He should only look straight, so they put blinders on the two sides, and the horse goes straight. So there are people that have that. And so what if he came to my daughter's house? That means he has to remember who I am. No, he forgot it, and he went on with life. Why should he remember? He's a busy person. Why should he remember who I am? And he's busy with his gabos, and he's busy, and he knows his people he has over there, and I guess each one he gives Aliyah, he has a cheshbon why he gives. Why he's going to look at what some archi-parchi came in and he looks like a bentor. So what if he looks like a bentor? I mean, maybe there's even better limus chusim, but I'll upon him. I think that in this story, the Mamre Mayisim Im Hashem is you can see it in our own life. And I think that on every step we can we can find such a situation where we use Yiddishkeit, we use Frumkeit for in the wrong way. I can't think of any other examples right now, but those that pay attention to what they do, and those that want to become better, especially now that we're in Aseret Shemei Tshuva. I mean, let's say Lamashal, you have such a thing as Man Kriyashma, and you get very pressured to learn Kriyashma and this man. You have to also know that what does it mean Hashem Echad? Hashem Echad means something. Hashem Echad is something that has to do with our everyday life after we learn Kriyashma, we Mekayim this man. Let's say there's a halacha of Ne'ilah has to be when Chamas Barosh Ilanas, and you get pressured to daven Ne'ilah in the right time. Some people are even more pressured to have...
Rabbi Kaplan, we're taking another break. Thank you.